Well, hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Women Like Me, Stories in Business. I'm the host, Julie Fairhurst, so I just really want to thank you all for being here. And today we are going to be chatting with the amazing Rosa Livingstone. So, Rosa, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself? What would you like us to
Sure,
know?
I could do that. Well, professionally, I am a trained clinical hypnotherapist, which means that I deal with people's emotional states and mental states and physical states and help them to overcome, whatever it is that they have, that they're having difficulty with in their lives. And I was also trained as a life coach, and I completely love that. I've been doing that for about 17 years now. I can't believe how quickly time just flies.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of moving more into working specifically with women and women issues because I really believe that this is the time where we are wanting to break our the ceiling that society has set for us, but also our personal ceiling on what we can achieve in our lives. So that has been my passion over the last couple of years, but certainly now that COVID's ended and we're back to getting kicking into our stride, that's where I'm putting my energy into now. And
Excellent.
personally, I'm a mom. I have two sons. I love them. And I have a wonderful, supportive husband who is the president of my fan club and doing a lot of traveling and just really enjoying this phase in my life.
Oh, good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what did you just my own curiosity. So what did you do during COVID? Were you able to deal with people like on a Zoom call like this? Like did you still can you do hypnotherapy over like a Zoom call?
Absolutely. Yes, my office, as you use behind me, I
Yeah.
had to shut everything down as everyone else did, that you couldn't have people coming into your home. So I transitioned to Zoom, which many years ago I used to use Skype. Anybody remember Skype?
Oh,
And you know what? It's the same because when I'm working with someone and I'm helping them to go into themselves and access their subconscious mind, they're just basically living listening to my voice and they're following my instructions, and I just help them to go into this natural state where we can work. So as long as I can see them sort of from the waist up,
yeah.
we're good to go because I look for physical signals, and there's just things I look for, and that's what I really need to see. So no, there's nothing replaces the energy of being in the same room. However, the results are the same.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's good.
yeah.
Well, I'm always curious what people did
Hmm.
when we had the COVID lockdown. So, but well, that makes complete sense. So you say that you deal with the inner child healing. Can you explain to us a little bit about what that's all about?
Absolutely. In the 17 years that I have worked full time doing what I do, seeing multiple clients, I really started to understand that one of the main skills that we as clinical hypnotherapists learn is called regression therapy. And so, what we're doing is we're looking at the symptoms, which is the effect of a cause. And the cause, we always landed at the initial event. What was it that caused this feeling to erupt? And then eventually, it can also cause physical symptoms. And we were going to that first 5 years. And I knew this, but to learn it and then to see it in action, and even in my own inner work, it was like, wow, okay, so it's our inner child that even though it's a psychological inner child, it doesn't exist. My little Rose isn't sitting right here beside me, but in my mind, she is. Actually, she's with me every day. I have a picture of her that I keep on my desk because it's a reminder that she still, her beliefs that I have been helping her to unlearn, she's been the key to my freedom. And so it's the inner child that is still protected subconsciously that is the key to our
Mm.
healing of our emotional state, our mental state, our physical state, our energetic field. It's that inner child. She or he still exists within our psyche in here.
Right.
And so I've just found that she's so important in, with not just in my practice, but even with friends. They'll come and they'll unload, and I'll go, okay, so, you know, have you talked to your inner child lately? And they go, what? My inner child? I'm going, yes, there is a little you that formed all of your belief. She was the first, and
Hmm.
she is still very much active within your subconscious, which is 95% of your mind. Think about that. 95% of your mind is this emotional mind, is this imaginative mind, is this mind that forgets nothing, zero. It's all encoded there. And that's whatever got in there and landed and stuck is still at play today. And what we do is our subconscious mind is constantly reading what's happening outside of ourselves, and it's triggering what we already believe.
Right.
So, for example, if as a little girl, I started to believe because of what I was seeing, interacting with my caregivers, with you know, anyone that had influence. It could be society, it could be parents, it could be grandparents, it could be school, it could be religion. All of these things may have made me feel like, maybe I'm just not smart. And so I
Mhm.
go to take an exam when I'm in grade 7 and I fall apart
Right.
because
Right.
there's this, even though I believe by 12, and I'll get into that, there is logic available, which is our
Yeah.
rational thinking mind that is comparing. It knows that, you're very competent, you're very skilled. But as long as I have that belief, I self-sabotage.
So,
That's
Rosa, sorry to interrupt.
no,
I'm
not
just
at all.
I'm just curious. So, I think they say, the experts out there, that by the time we're 7, we've
Hmm.
sort of formed is it our personality or our beliefs, or
Yeah.
like
There are
beliefs?
many names that we give that, our personality. We formed our core beliefs. Well, the core beliefs and personality, it all sort of is enmeshed. I like to say, and in one talk that I have done in the past as a speaker, it was age 5.
5.
By age 5, we have formed our basic core beliefs. These beliefs are shaped by our experiences, our interactions with these people that have importance to us, like our caregivers,
Yeah.
for example, and the messages from those people around us and closest to us. So by the time you are 5, you already have a blueprint of expectations. What does that mean? It means that if I have come to believe that I'm not smart, that I'm not lovable, that I don't do anything right, that I'm ugly, that I'm too skinny, that I'm too fat, then that then is what I look at in the world, and I expect to be interacted with and treated in a certain way based on how I believe about myself. So if I don't believe I'm lovable, and it happens in the first 5 years, then I'm going to have relationship problems because I don't go for what I think I deserve.
Right.
I go for what I feel I deserve.
And so then the person that, well, we'll just say woman, because
Hmm.
that's
Yes,
what
please.
we're
Yeah,
talking about right now. So the woman that you might be dealing with, they may even be unaware of what
absolutely.
exactly is the problem, but they just
Hmm.
feel there's a problem, or they know there's a
Right.
problem because they have a pattern of problems. So,
Exactly.
how do they then, so through hypnosis, how do they then come to realize what their problem is? How do you help them with that?
Well, let's go back to the subconscious mind and really understanding what it is. It's our imagination mind, it's our emotional memory mind, and it stores all of our experiences. But it's not a thought so much as it's the feeling. The feelings are kept inside of us. Something made us feel good, something made us feel not good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So, what we do is, or what I do is, we talk about the issue. For instance, I'll give you a really good example. I was dealing with a very high powered executive woman here in Vancouver. This was a number of years ago. And everything in her life, professionally, was going according to plan. She was not afraid of speaking in public. She would, most of the people at her level were men. She knew how to deal with them. I mean, you didn't mess with this girl. Yet, her relationship, she was abused.
Mm.
She was abused in her relationship. And she finally, because of shame, right, kept her from ever saying this. And there's that code of silence, and which I know well. So she came to me very privately, of course, and what I do is very private. And she said, I don't understand. Okay, I saw how my dad wasn't nice to my mom, but I'm a grown ass woman and I don't know why I can't leave or I can't stand up for myself or I feel like I don't have any boundaries. And so for her to try to remember what happened in those first 5 years that made her feel that she didn't deserve something better, she couldn't recall that. It's too far in the past. To
Right.
try to gather that information from her rational mind, which doesn't remember, it doesn't feel, it only thinks. And it thinks back to our short-term memory. So in helping her, I said, how does this make you feel? She said, I feel shame. Okay.
Mm.
And so we worked on the feeling. We took the feeling she feels today, ramped it up, and I help a person do this. This is not easy stuff. It's emotional stuff. And
Yes.
we use that feeling of shame today as a jumping off point to go back. And I keep helping her go back further. Like she might land in when she was 12 and some boy, tried to kiss her and her friends saw it. And then they were all making fun of her that she was
Uh,
now a slut. Okay. Shame.
oh,
But I know it's not at 12. That might have been a subsequent event that really compounded that shame. But we got to go back. Where is the begin? When did you first feel shame?
yeah.
And we went back to 3. Yeah, 3 years old. The event was that she had, been playing. She could hear her mother and father. They were arguing, and dad at that point, and she was 3. So 3, you're developing cognitively. You still don't have any logical influences, but you know how it makes you feel. She
Yes.
was feeling all of this shame and guilt because dad was accusing mom of being unfaithful. And she heard this. But did she know what unfaithful was?
No.
No.
Right.
But she then saw how her mother reacted. And what she saw was mom pleading, mom being, submissive, mom doing all this stuff. So what she learned is, okay, in a relationship, I have to be the one that makes it work. I
Mhm.
have to be the one that smooths things over. And I can't do anything wrong. I have to be perfect in my relationship. And of course, no matter what she did, she's never going to be perfect.
No.
And she did attract a man who challenged her truthfulness. Like if she was at a meeting and it was late or she had to meet a client, he would always go, no, where were you? What were you doing? And so she
Uh,
felt that she had no voice because she saw what happened between her parents.
right.
Little. It's
Yeah.
so, but it was there. I
Yes.
mean, do you see that memory in Technicolor? For some people, they do. For others, it's impressions. And we work through that. I help them to bring up the feeling, to paint the picture so that she can then work through and rescue her inner child and go, hey, honey, what you didn't understand was this had nothing to do with you.
Right.
This was between mom and dad. You're
Yeah.
allowed to form relationships that feel good to you. And so you rescue the child from that thought process. And then as you work through it, you integrate it. You can't change the content of what happened, but you can change the context, if that makes sense.
Ah, yes,
So,
it does.
yeah, you can't because the mind remembers it as it is.
Right.
And if I try to say, oh, no, that didn't really happen, no, then it locks down. So we change the context of it. And then the logic, I can bring in the rational mind and go, okay, you're the adult now. Do you understand why you feel the way you do today? It came from this little girl who misunderstood the cues that were going on due to the the words that she heard, but more so it was the tone of voice and the physical manifestation she was seeing. So body language, that wasn't about you, honey. That's how we start to shift.
Yeah. And she must have then, for any little child dealing with that, so she would have not only, she probably was fearful hearing all of that. So she grows up to be an adult. And even though she's tough out here, when she goes home into that relationship, she turns into her mom.
Yes, yes, that's
Mm,
exactly what happens. And we
yeah,
don't understand that rationally because we feel, A, I'm a logical being and that, I can solve all my problems.
yeah,
And B, I can't remember what happened in the past. It's gone, but
right,
it's not.
right.
It's not. So in those first 5 years, everything that you're going through, we like to say, well, this is scientifically proven, we're in what's called a theta brainwave state. And theta is a very, it's a slow state of mind. It's where we imagine, it's where we play. It's the state we get to when I'm working with clients. It's the theta state. Exactly. It's the imagination state. So I'm having them go back into their imagination, into their memory mind
Yeah,
to locate the causes of their issues today. So that is key. So in that state, the theta mind state, we are sponges. You know how we say kids are
yeah,
sponges?
yeah,
We are.
yeah,
Why? Because there's no filter. We haven't even developed our logical factor that
right.
compares. Okay,
Yes,
it compares to what we already know. We
yeah.
haven't developed that. Doesn't start to show up between 8 and 12.
Wow. Yeah,
Okay. So we're starting to be able to problem solve when we're in that age. But up until that point, it's all experiential. It's all about what you feel, it's all
yeah.
about what you interpret.
Wow.
Now, doesn't make it true,
Right.
but it becomes true to you.
Right, right. I always say to my kids and some other people, oh well, when I was a kid or when this happened, and I would just always say, you know what, perception is not always reality.
No, perception is what we put together this picture of what we believe is the truth, but
Yes.
it's not fact. It's not fact.
No.
And
No.
we can give ourselves the facts all day long.
Yeah.
But as long as the subconscious mind holds a differing belief from what we logically think is rational,
Yeah.
it will not change. We have to change the subconscious part, that 95%. We got to get in there.
Yeah.
And then the logic, which is 5%, they will be in what we call harmony or congruency. We're out of whack.
Yeah.
We're out of
Yeah.
whack.
Yeah. And probably everybody is to some point, because there's just no way that as a child you're going to perceive, you're going to perceive things how you see them, but and again, they're not always what reality meant. And so um it just messes
We
up.
all have
Yeah.
this.
We, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah. Yeah.
I've always said what I do, okay, it's yes, regress with a feeling to the cause and reframe it, fix it, whatever you
Yeah.
want to say. But I've always known and understood through my training and psych courses before I took my training is that everything that we experienced in those first formative years impacts the one most important thing that we need as human beings to feel like we belong, like there's a place for us in this big wide world. That is our self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a self-esteem slash self-worth issue. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
We all have that to some degree.
Yeah.
And this is why it manifests as um, perfectionism, you know,
Right.
uh, people that have to be perfect. Because if I'm perfect, then I will be worthy of that one thing that we needed as children, that we came into this world as a birthright, and that is love and safety.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you do then? So when someone realizes that they've got an issue that stems from inner child
Hmm.
workings.
Hmm.
So how do we heal that inner child? Like we can't
No,
stick a band-aid on them because they're inside.
no,
What do we
no.
do? What do we do to heal?
We have to stay connected to her. Whether you're in a formal session in my office or you're at home, you need to continuously work with her. Let her know that you are there for her. One of the most impactful things I say when I'm working with someone in this open mind state, subconscious state, is you are not alone. I've come all the way back here as your adult self to let you know that you are not alone. I have your back. I've always had your back, but I just didn't know how much you needed me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it is a process of anytime you close your eyes, Julie, anytime that you go inward and you imagine that little girl, and I have clients go find a picture of yourself somewhere between the age of 2 and 5. And you put that picture somewhere where you can see it every single day. And reproduce it. Put one up in your bathroom, put one before, at your bedside table, keep one in your office. That is your continuous reminder that she is the most important person in your life. When we say you are the most important person in your life, no
Yeah.
matter how much you're loved, no matter how much your partner is there for you, you are the most important person in your circle.
Yeah.
And if I take that further, your inner child is the most important person to you.
Wow.
So it's a matter of meditating. It's a matter of creative visualization. Anytime you close your eyes and you imagine her, your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's
Yes.
imagined. So
Right.
if you imagine it, it's real. And so it's all you're sending a message to the subconscious mind is saying, hey, you can trust me, Rosa, to look after my little girl
Yeah.
and to help her change the way she feels about herself. Now, does this happen overnight, Julie? No. Just like with children,
Yeah.
you don't bullshit them.
Right.
Okay. So when I'm working with a client who meets their inner child for the first time, I'm not going to say to her, oh, now love her up and give her a big hug. Maybe she's not ready for that.
Right.
Maybe the adult isn't quite ready for the child. And I've seen this over and over again. Or now that they understand and they're feeling that, okay, this inner child is the cause of my problem, then they resent the child.
Mm.
Or they don't believe what the child's saying because they go, well, I don't remember that, but you're showing it to me. And that's when I know that the client is not fully vested in opening up to this concept. And it takes time.
Right.
Do I get there with them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
However, it's do your homework. So imagine that you see them. Ask her how she's feeling. When you wake up in the morning, just be there and go, hi, honey, what do you want to do today? If we can't play at this moment, or
Yeah.
I have to go to work, when do you want to play and what do you want to do while you're playing? Okay.
Yeah.
When she will send, and it's an interaction between the two. It's again, so I know it's hard for some people who've never experienced it to really
Yeah.
understand this because it's so experiential. Is that when you are with your inner child, you're remembering what it was like to to be to be open and curious and loving and playful. And we have forgotten that part because we've gotten so much into our logic that we feel, well, we can't be playful or we can't be fun or
Mhm.
have too much fun. And
Yes.
there's a balance, but you
Yeah.
teach the child the balance. But it's an everyday thing. I've gotten back to doing it. I got a little away from it, but even last night, I know I know when she needs me. And I was lying in bed and I just imagine she spooned against me.
Oh,
And I just hug her and I say, you're safe, honey. I got you. And this is while we're still doing the inner work. I'm constantly letting her
yeah.
know. And I had this conversation with a former client who's now a very good friend, and we still do work together. She goes, I didn't realize how much the inner child was important. Now when I'm not feeling right, I'll stop and I'll close my eyes and I'll sit there on my couch and I'll go, what do you need? What's going on? She will tell you, either in words or in sensations, as
Yeah.
in feelings. She
Yeah.
will tell you.
Yeah.
She will tell
Wow.
you.
Yeah. I
So
can,
you're,
yeah, go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. I was
Well,
just saying, this is what you shift.
that's, yeah. It's, I can see how for some people it would be very fearful to go back there.
No one wants to go where it hurts. It's
Right.
ouch. We avoid ouch as much as we can,
Right.
whether it's emotional pain or
Yeah.
physical pain.
Yeah.
We want to
Yeah.
avoid that.
Yeah.
And yet, one of my favorite things that I have and I use with clients is, how does that make you feel? Have you had enough of that?
Yeah.
Have you had enough of suppressing your feelings,
Yeah.
suppressing, your emotions? Because you know what? Your subconscious mind stores the memory and the feelings get locked in our body. So do
Mm-hmm.
you want to keep carrying that pain around?
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I always get, well, this is really scary. What if I don't do it right? There is no right.
No.
I am not
Yeah.
hypnotizing you.
Yeah.
I am dehypnotizing you because you've been in a state of hypnosis since you came into this world, which is that status state with no
Yeah.
filter.
Yeah.
Okay. And everything that you formed as beliefs were like seeds, and it's planted there and it comes into your mind with no filter. That's your logic.
Yeah.
And it sprouts.
Yeah.
And whatever gets in first sticks.
Yeah.
So if you have in our many, many moments, because the other thing I have is, well, I had a great childhood. I remember, very supportive parents.
Yeah.
I'm going, and that very well be. But can you account for every second, every moment that you
Yes.
had interacting with your parents?
Yes.
Maybe there was that one day where she came home and you hadn't cleaned your toys or put them away, and because the sitter had left and she yelled at you.
Yeah.
That was all it took to
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
that seed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think even with that too, because I always, for myself, I've done a lot of work on belief systems and why do I believe what I believe and where did it come
Mhm.
from? And so often it's so important to examine that, because where does it come from? Well, more often than not, it comes from your parents. It comes from who raised you. It comes from your grandparents, your great grandparents, and the generations have just been passing down that belief system.
Mhm.
That, I'll tell you something really quickly. This is how
Tell
it
me.
works. So my husband's family, Greek, lots and lots of Greeks in the family. We decide to do the 23andMe. There's not a Greek, nothing in his body. There's no Greek. And so then he goes to his grandmother. She's passed away now, and says, "Grandma, like I thought we were all Greek. Like all my life, I've been told I'm Greek, and like there's no Greek DNA in me at all." And she goes, "Well, we kind of, but a little bit of Italian. Well, we kind of lived on the border of Greece and Italian, but it was just that's what they said. But they're not Greek, but they all
Mhm.
thought they were Greek."
I think that's hysterical, but it is it's like that first seed that gets in, it sticks. It's like, okay, I'm 4 and I'm starting to learn shapes, and my mother shows me, I don't have anything. Okay, she shows me a circle. Okay,
Yeah.
a circle, but she calls it a square. Do I know any different? No.
Oh,
What gets in first sticks. So every time I see a circle, I think it's a square.
right.
A square, she says, is a circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got that all mixed up. Now I go to kindergarten, and my teacher is we're doing shapes, and she
Yeah.
points out to a circle and says, "This is a circle." No, it's not. No, that's a square. She goes, "No, this is a square."
Yeah.
No, that's a circle. It's what gets in first sticks, and it has to be undone. So that's sort of what
Right.
I'm doing,
Yeah.
undoing
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
thought was the truth
Yeah.
or what was the reality.
Yeah.
And we will
Yeah.
fight that until we have proof otherwise.
Right, right. Wow.
So that's
Well,
interesting.
and it makes complete logical sense. What you're saying is that we do carry these things from children into our adult lives,
Mm-hmm,
and it's sad because a lot of, maybe we were told we are stupid, maybe we were told we are dumb, maybe we were told whatever we were told, and we take that to heart and we grow up
mm-hmm,
thinking that. And
mm-hmm,
so now we're
mm-hmm.
not living our best life. We're not living our fullest life
No, no.
in a million different ways.
And it doesn't, Julie, also have to be negative things. We can say something that is perceived as negative, which actually came out sounding positive. For example, if you were told as a child, you get your report card and mom takes a look at it or dad takes a look at it and says, oh, okay, you got C's. You know what, honey? You could do better. You could do better. Okay, you can do better sounds very positive. What's the child learning? I wasn't good enough in the first
Right,
place.
right.
Now I have to do better, which means I'm not good. So I'm missing something. I'm broken. I'm defective. I don't have the skill, or I'm just not good enough.
Yeah,
So if I do better, even though mom said, that's good, smile on her face, the child is going, if I do better, mom will even, she'll love me more. So it becomes this competition with the self to
yeah.
always do better. It's like people pleasers.
Which would be exhausting as an
Yeah,
adult.
it
Yeah,
is exhausting.
it would
It's
be
exhausting. It's
yes.
exhausting. And
Yeah,
it shows up in your professional life, it shows up in your personal life,
yeah,
relationships that, you know, where, one, and I always say like attracts like. We attract on both of our strengths, but our weaknesses. And I always say that whoever has an impact on us negatively or positively was a really good teacher, because I look at the world as a school or classroom versus my prison, because there was a time I thought it was my prison. I was limited to what I thought I was worth. There's that blueprint. And
yeah,
it took years of dismantling that, reframing the context of it for me to realize that no, I deserve so much more.
yeah.
But it took, and it shows up at different points in our lives too, Julie. Like I was reading a study not long ago on, there are some really high achieving women, very high achieving women, but they hit this, we call it that ceiling. It's not anything outside of themselves.
Yeah,
It's something still internally where inside they
yeah,
don't really believe they deserve it.
yeah,
And we've never been lonelier. We have access to, forget about, we're not where we want to be still
yeah,
with equality, but we're in a place that our mothers weren't in, or our grandmothers and ancestrally. But even though we have access to so much more and are able to be more and become more, we're still very lonely
hmm,
because inside we don't still feel authentic.
yeah, yeah.
What
Wow.
will people say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's yeah, well, I don't even know.
I
It's a lot of information. It's very important information because
really believe it is. Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely, because we need to be able to just be the best that we can be for ourselves. And if we're missing out on parts of life because we're afraid or we feel shameful, I mean, shame is the worst. Shame, I feel, is the worst
Mm-hmm.
because it will make
Mm-hmm.
you hide. It will do all sorts of things to you. And so shame is so important to get over the shame. But with that, as you were talking about that healing and cuddling, you have to think back, like, what would that little girl have needed at that time?
Exactly. Yes. And
Yeah. And
all
did
we
you
need to do is
get?
ask her,
I'm sorry?
what do you need? And we need to ask her
Yes,
because she
yes.
was missing something
Yeah.
in all of those moments of her life, whether she, someone looks back and go, I had a great childhood. There were things that happened where you perceived that something was missing. You needed something.
Yeah.
And we need to give that back to our child, but ask her, what
Yeah.
does she need? I don't finish wherever we land. I don't finish with the adult representation in the subconscious mind talking
Yeah.
to the inner child. It's like, okay, Julie, she's still not quite there. She's telling you, ask her what she needs.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What else does she need? What else does she need? What else does she need? It's filling her needs so that she can believe that you are going to be able to fulfill her needs. And they're very simple. Love me,
Yeah.
keep me safe,
Yeah.
let me play when I need to. I want to be curious and I want to be loved.
Yes. Those are very simple.
It's really simple, but we
It is.
complicate it. We really, really do.
Yeah.
And what we deal with, like our fears of failure and our anxieties and our difficulty in relationships and our depressions and our perfectionism, it all goes back to a little girl inside feeling that she's not good enough because her self-esteem was hit. It was cracked.
Yeah.
So when you said shame, I believe you, and I concur that shame is an acidic emotion. It is very different. People all seem to think that shame and guilt are the same thing. No,
Mm.
they're not.
No.
No, I mean guilt is I feel like I've done something wrong.
Yes.
Shame is I'm wrong. I'm broken. There's something
Yeah.
wrong with me,
Yeah.
and we all carry a little bit of that, or a
Yes.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or a lot.
yeah, or a
Absolutely.
lot,
Yeah.
or a lot.
Yeah.
So how do we change it? Take the courses on there are lots of now I see them all over the place. Seriously, 16, 17 years ago, nothing. Now
Mm.
I get them. Like, okay, the inner child,
Yeah.
and I'm going, and I'll just look and go, okay, this is pretty cool. And I've recommended it to people that I know that need this. But look into inner child healing.
Yeah.
Um, look into visualization.
Mhm.
If you're not comfortable with it, read up on it a little bit and realize that all you have to do is cut off this sense of sight,
Yeah.
which automatically makes you go inside and
Yeah.
just imagine.
Yeah.
Just be there. It's like people think that meditation, oh my goodness, I got to take a course to meditate. No, you don't.
No, you
You
don't.
just will learn and
Yeah.
practice to quiet your mind and let it take you where it needs to take you.
Yes.
With self-hypnosis, taught that for years. You can do this yourself. Like I said earlier, I'm not hypnotizing people. I am not. I am helping them to do it themselves because they do it all the time.
So would hypnotism then be similar to so when you're helping someone and you're
Mm-hmm.
hypnotizing them, so are you
No,
not?
I'm not.
No, I know. Oh, I know.
I know.
I'm trying to pick
I
my
get it.
words. So
Get it out.
and you're trying and not you're trying, but it's like so if you and I were in a session, it's
Yeah.
more just about my relaxation, isn't it? And allowing no?
You don't have to be relaxed to be in a state of hypnosis. A
Oh,
state of
okay.
hypnosis is this. It's when you all of a sudden your concentration is focused inward and feelings and imagination begin to come up. For instance, let's say let's say you're driving home
Okay.
during the day, you're on the highway. I know you live out in the valley,
Yeah.
and you witness a deer getting hit by the car. And you get out of the car. In that moment, you might not be thinking rationally. You might be just going, I'm going to cross that highway and I'm going to see if this animal is okay.
Yeah.
Your logic just
Right.
got suspended and you're coming
Yeah.
from emotion and you're very focused. Okay. Another, what we call a natural state of hypnosis, is anytime there is emotion, focus, concentration, and an authoritative figure. When we were kids, we had teachers, parents,
Yes.
priests, reverends, doctors.
Yeah.
We're still influenced today. Okay. The minute I have fear or anxiety and I gauge this person as an authority
Yeah.
and she's called me in to get my test results, I'm already nervous. I'm so focused. I'm not thinking about what I'm making for dinner. I'm thinking about what is she going to say?
Yeah.
I'm in a state of hypnosis.
Oh.
So so when we are in that focused, concentrated state where we're accessing our imagination and there's emotion, we're very suggestible.
Well, I'm
So we're
wrong.
not really. Again, it's I didn't know it was until I was doing this
Yes.
when I was taking my training. I'm going,
Yes.
I thought it was something that I had to induce. No, even though we use that word, we do inductions. It's just to get you into your mind on
Okay.
demand because you do it all the time. You're watching
Yeah.
TV and you're swearing at the television because
Yes.
the person is doing whatever. Are you in your logical mind? Is
No.
that real what you're watching on TV?
Right.
No, but you're so focused and you are in that subconscious
Yeah.
mind state, that
Yeah.
emotional state, which can't tell the difference between what's real or imagined. So
Right.
you're yelling at it. Or
Yes.
you're watching this movie. I did it the other night. I happen to want to see, and I haven't seen it in ages, An Officer and a Gentleman. At the end, I'm bawling. There's more snot and tears than first day of kindergarten. And I know it's just like it's provoked my emotional state. I know that's not real. I know it's Deborah Winger. I know it's Richard Gere, but
Yeah.
I was so invested. So I'm not teaching you to be hypnotized.
Yeah.
I'm just asking you to do what you know how to do on demand.
Yes.
Like, let's do it
Lovely.
now.
Got
Mm-hmm.
it. Oh, well, thank
Mm-hmm.
you so much. No, I appreciate that you've explained that because I didn't really fully understand it. So I appreciate that. And if I don't understand it, I'm sure there's lots of other people that were a little bit confused about it as well. So
They would be. They would
yeah,
be. They would be.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
just yeah.
so I just gonna say, so Rosa, what
Mm-hmm.
would you advise people to do? So if they're having some life issues, repetitive life issues, um, what would you advise people out there to do? Like, is there a step first, or like
Mm-hmm.
what do you tell people to do or
Well,
suggest?
yes. What I can suggest is to start allowing themselves to feel
Hmm.
and stop this process of suppression where we eat food to eat our emotions, where we have addictions, where whatever they may be. It's start noticing how you're feeling.
Hmm.
And rather than run from it, if you need to have a good cry and you've been suppressing that because, oh, I can't cry or crying makes me weak, I have to be strong.
Yes.
There is going to be the moment where you can be by yourself and buckets, let it out.
Yeah.
Start releasing without it being provoked because the outside world is always going to provoke what's going on in the inner world. Your outer world is a reflection of what's going on in your inner world. So if there's a lot of chaos, if there's a lot of confrontation, if there's a lot of negativity, you're bringing that in because it's you're attracting it because like attracts like, right? So
Mhm.
start from the standpoint of let myself feel. I'm a human. Okay, take away the logic, our rational sense, which puts us at the top of the food chain. We're still animals, right?
Yeah.
And we are feeling beings. So start letting those emotions come out. If you're angry, we do it here. I teach you to do it at home. Grab a pillow and beat the crap out of it. Get your anger out
Yeah. Yeah.
because your anger, your frustration, your anxiety, your shame and guilt are like the outer layers of an onion. The core one is I'm deeply sad. I'm sad at the thought that I don't feel loved. I'm
Yeah.
sad at the thought that I don't feel like I belong. I'm sad at the thought that I'm wasting my life.
Mhm.
Add in
Yeah.
whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I say start looking at how you feel and start learning to express it. And if that's difficult for you, grab a pen and start writing. There's power in the pen.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Get yourself get yourself a journal. I have 14 million ones of them. Okay.
Yeah.
And this one is leave your fears behind
Yeah.
and start writing. It's
Yeah.
not a journal like every day at 5 o'clock I have to write.
No.
No,
Yeah.
write when it feels like the inspiration is in there. That's this
Yes.
need to, okay, get it out of your head, put it on the paper.
Yes.
And when you're doing it, please be very honest with yourself. If you want to write it and you're writing with potty mouth, go for it.
Yeah.
If you're writing and just write, just get it all out because you're alleviating what's in here, which is also being expressed energetically in your body,
Yes. Yes.
right? Look into hypnotherapy. I'm not saying me. I'm saying anyone
Yeah.
that is certified. Okay, you
Yes.
don't want someone that's taken. Oh, I did the weekend course. No, it's not a
No.
weekend course.
Yeah. Right.
Um, Look into. There are books now out on the inner child. John Bradshaw is one of my favorite authors, and he wrote a number of books. And believe believe it or not, it was 1991 or two. I want to say 97, but I'm going back to 1991 when his book came out, and it was Reclaiming Your Inner Child.
Oh, I remember that book.
Do you remember? He's
Yes,
written
I
several,
do.
like he wrote one on shame, and I have carried that book around in boxes through my many moves and
Oh,
many relationship blowups. And it was here in this house. I've been here 14 years. I thought, I've got this book. What's in here? It was still there. And I had not highlighted, didn't have a highlighter. I had written on the borders, I had underlined things. I was already subconsciously making the connection that my healing I needed to examine the codependent,
yeah.
ancestral also belief systems that I had absorbed that were not mine,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
My favorite thing when people ask, well, what do? You know what? I help women master self sabotage
Yeah.
by acknowledging first. You have to acknowledge and then release through that healing process the
Yeah.
limiting self beliefs that we have been carrying within ourselves from childhood
Yeah.
and from our maternal sides. And
Yeah.
even if the father wound is just, we always talk about the mother wound.
Yeah.
Sorry, the father wound for a daughter is
Yeah.
huge too.
Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
huge.
Absolutely.
That was our
Wow.
first love, our
Yes.
first
Yes.
male relationship. And if it
Yes.
wasn't good, geez, wonder why I've had train wreck relationships until
Yeah.
I got my crap together.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. No, for sure. Wow. Well, what a wealth of information, Rosa, really. And I appreciate you sharing so much. And you shared it very easy to understand, which I
Oh, good.
appreciate that. And and I love just like you're just matter of fact, like this is the way it is. And you either can I think what it is that you were able to show the audience that they don't have to be that way. You don't have
No.
to live with bad relationships,
Mm-hmm.
low self-esteem, feeling bad about yourself, feeling not worthy, crappy jobs or, putting up with people.
Settling for less.
Yes, 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 yes. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to
Mm-hmm.
do that. You deserve more, and there's a way for it to come out. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I just love that. So thank you so much, Rosa. I appreciate it
You're
so
very
much.
welcome.
So
Me too.
oh, you're welcome. I just
I
want
do.
everyone to know that in the details section here of either the YouTube video or the podcast will be a lot of Rosa's information. So if you want to contact Rosa, you will have contact information there. You can reach out to her if you have questions or anything like that. She would be able to help you for sure. Um, she's yeah, just I would refer you out. I
Thank you very
refer
much.
Rosa, everybody.
That's wonderful. And you know what?
Yeah,
It's a huge compliment that you could say because having written, you know, especially my first book, before I co-authored with you, it was really, I'm trying to disseminate all of this this knowledge that I can remember learning it and going, oh my God, can you just speak to me more simply? I want to understand it in simple terms. So you
Yes.
to say that to me was huge. So
Yes. Oh,
thank you.
no, for
Mhm.
sure. And yes, yes. I always tell people, just explain it to me like I'm five because
Yeah, yeah,
I want
yeah,
to know.
yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
understand. Yeah. Maybe
Hmm.
not when I was
Hmm.
five, but you know what I mean.
I
Okay.
do.
Well, Rosa, again,
Thank you.
thank you so much for being here. And thank you, everyone, for being here for another episode. And as I said, all of Rosa's details will be in, or not details, her contact information will be in the details section. So please, please feel free to reach out to Rosa. She's here to help. So thank you again, Rosa.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.